guys, welcome back to Hear Me Out. I'm E.
I'm D.
And today we're going to talk about, somebody that's not really my favorite person, but D loves her. We're going to talk about this Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle. So, we'll have another video on our review of the TV show called Suits. I'm not sure if it'll be before or after this one, but Meghan Markle, I guess her only acting gig. That wasn't meant to be a snub, but maybe.
She has done other gigs, but nothing like that, no.
Well, she was Rachel Zane. She was a paralegal that turned into a lawyer. Not a main character, but she was there for 7 seasons. So she was like one of the love interests of Mike Ross, which was Patrick J. Adams. And he was, the infamous Mike Ross, and he had photographic memory. He was pretending to be a lawyer, and Suits just follows him and Harvey Specter and their whole shenanigans, getting in trouble, lawyering, whatever they do. But Meghan, she met Prince Harry while she was acting on Suits. And, the royal family had some things to say, right? So apparently they got their hands on the script, and they said that Meghan couldn't say a particular word. So we're going to dive into it, see what we think, and go on from there. I'm going to try to be objective here. Okay, guys? So I'm subjective. So the royal family, like I said, didn't want Meghan Markle saying this particular word in Suits. Meghan was dating Harry late in the show's run. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Suits creator Aaron Korsh revealed a word that the royal family didn't want the future Duchess of Sussex to say the following word on screen, which is poppycock, which is a funny word, right?
It's funny.
So, like I mentioned earlier, on Suits, Markle played Rachel, a paralegal turned lawyer who served as the love interest of Adam's brilliant slacker Mike for seasons 1 through 7. Towards the end of her Suits tenure, Markle went on a blind date in Toronto with Prince Harry, and well, the rest is history. While Markle's budding romance with the royal was exciting for the Suits brigade, it led to some unforeseen challenges. The royal family weighed in on some stuff, said Korsh. Not many things, by the way, but a few things that they, wanted her to do or not do, say or not say. So it was a little irritating. So, like I said, they didn't want her to say the word poppycock. And for those who don't know what it means, I didn't. So we had to look up the definition. Poppycock means nonsense, rubbish, something that is ridiculous or nonsensical. I don't even know how to use that in a sentence. This is poppycock. That's a weird. This is nasty. I could see why they don't want them to say that.
Yeah.
Want her to say that.
It sounds weird. But it's also just a side note. Why would she even say the word? Like, it's not an American word, at least not one that's like in our lexicon of like current words that we use. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. So, Korsh went on to describe the context in which Markle was supposed to say the forbidden word. So in the episode, Mike and Rachel were going to have a thing, and as a nod to my in-laws, we were going to have her say, my family would say poppycock. The royal family did not want her to say the word. They didn't want to put the word poppycock in her mouth. Korsh has a theory as to why the royal family nixed the seemingly harmless and quite British word. I presume because they didn't want people cutting things together of her saying the latter part of the word. So we had to change it to BS instead of poppycock, and I did not like it because I told my in-laws that that word was going to be in the show. There was maybe 1 or 2 more things, but I can't remember. Now, how the royal family even found out that Markle was supposed to be saying this word on the show Suits is a mystery to Korsh. I don't know how they got the scripts. Quote, Porsche. And I was aware that they were reading them because I got the feedback, but I don't remember the process by which they got them. However, in his autobiography, Spare, Prince Harry revealed that the palace was in contact with the Suits team, much to the chagrin of the show's writers, once it became clear that Meghan and Harry were the real deal. Quote, the show writers were frustrated because they were often advised by the palace communications team to change lines of dialogue, what her character would do, how she would act, wrote Harry. Porsche ultimately understood where the royals were coming from. Quote, I'm pretty sure it got explained to me that it was about the splicing potential. I had some sympathy because I wouldn't want somebody doing that to her, quote, or yeah, end quote, said Porsche. And the thing is, I didn't think anybody really would, but also I don't know, people are crazy. And I wholeheartedly believe that it would have been done, and it would have been much to her detriment. People are crazy.
But I'm just curious. They didn't want her to say the word poppycock, but then at the same time, there was so many scenes where she was more like sexually explicit. There was scenes with her in her underwear. There was
Yeah.
like, I think other scenes that could be,
Yeah.
edited and things like that.
But weren't those done prior to her and Harry getting together? Or was it after?
Well, they were together for 7 seasons, so they were like a couple. They had relations. They
No, no,
got
no.
married.
I mean, Megan and Harry, like, was this like the scenes between her and Mike? They were prior to her really getting involved with Harry, I would assume.
I don't know. I don't know if she got with Harry like season 5, season 4 or 5, but
Oh, okay,
it
yeah,
was still a few seasons, and
yeah. Because they did date, like Prince Harry and Meghan dated secretly for I want to say what like half a year or so before the media found out, and then it became a whole thing. And then once it got to the point, I think that it was inevitable, like they were going to get engaged, or it was being reported that like she kind of stopped with a lot of like her stuff, like in particular acting and
Mhm.
the show. So, but I can't fully recall the timeline of that. I just think that it's pretty ridiculous. Like, I mean, I do get the whole, them concerned about how things could be like done in a certain kind of way. But my question, when it comes to a lot of things that has to do with the royal family and Meghan Markle, is were they doing it for their own benefit or to protect her? My theory is they were doing it for their own benefit because they was not here really for that girl. I don't really think they were trying to protect her. I don't really think they cared about the splicing thing. I think they just cared about how it looked for the royal family to have like, her saying that or whatever.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I don't really think it was like, oh, I'm so concerned for her. I don't want her to be out there, blah blah blah. Like, no. That was not it. I don't think so.
But if they didn't like her, wouldn't they want, to ruin her reputation?
No, because that in turn ruins theirs. Because at that point, she was intertwined with Harry enough that like it, I think it was inevitable. I think they all knew it was inevitable that they weren't going to be able to stop Harry from having this relationship, because I think like especially once he decided to marry her,
Yeah.
there's the fact, I don't know if he wrote about it in Spare because I can't fully remember, but I mean, I know William had an issue with it. Prince William, kind of tried to make sure if he did in fact want to do this, if he did in fact want to, get engaged to Meghan Markle. So, in my mind, it's like I don't think that they saw that like, they needed to be concerned as far as like her reputation. They needed to be concerned with their own, and so it's like they needed to put her in line,
Hmm.
because and that was the whole thing, is that okay, once it became evident that yes, Harry was going to marry her, therefore she was going to be going into the royal family. Now they needed to control her, for her to do things in the way in which they prefer, because that's how everything goes once you're part of the firm. You do things the way that they do, right? So that I think was probably one of one of the many ways in which they tried to kind of control what Meghan would do or not do prior to basically her leaving her career behind for him and his family.
Now that I'm thinking about it, we're going to start this little mini
Oh.
Meghan debate. So, didn't Meghan say she didn't know that the firm was going to treat her a certain kind of way? I think this is like kind of like step one. They're controlling her career and she's not even in it.
So I don't know that, like, I don't know what the exact quote was, but I know that she said that she wasn't like aware of certain things, right? Like, obviously a regular person's not going to know royal protocol, especially if you're like an American. You're not going to like fully know, right? And from my understanding, the information she knew from Harry, and there wasn't really any like full on training that was given to her. Now there's conflicting stories. There's been reports that the Duchess of York, Sophie, who was a close confidant to Queen Elizabeth and is Prince Edward's wife, that she offered to train Meghan to kind of take her under her wing, and that Meghan, the rumor is Meghan declined and said, no, I'm good, I've got Harry. But it's like, Harry being born into all of that, I don't know that he fully could have helped her because he's been in it, right? Like he's entrenched in all of those things. He probably didn't fully know how to properly like train her. So, did she fully know? Probably not. I think that like the fact of them, like you said, trying to control her career, should have been a flag. Maybe not a red flag fully, but at least some kind of a flag. And but at the same time, it's like, when you're in a relationship and you're like so in love and everything, you kind of just let things slide. Like, oh, it's so that especially if it's presented in a way as like, we're helping you, we're protecting you, like it's kind of that like reverse psychology kind of thing. So maybe it was presented to her in that way. I have no idea, because that's something that I don't think they've really touched on yet.
But the Queen was very into Queen Elizabeth. She was very into those protocols. So I would be surprised that Meghan would not want to do that kind of training or wasn't required to. I mean, Kate Middleton is a commoner, and I'm sure she learned it from somewhere. I'm sure it's more important for her since she's like, married to William. So, but I don't know. It's just iffy.
I think there's like a couple of different things at play, especially since you bring up Kate. Yes, she was a commoner, but Kate is also British. She grew up knowing the British monarchy. She grew up knowing what, certain things meant. Her mom is reported to have basically groomed Kate to one day be a part of the family. And got her into the schools needed to meet William and all that stuff. Like, I don't know how true any of that is, right? Like, it's just speculation, but like, so Kate already had some sort of understanding, some sort of knowledge. You got to do X, Y, Z. Meghan is a Hollywood actress from California who was probably very ditzy when it came to like those kind of things. It's like, who even knows like really what to do when it comes to like a monarchy? Like, it just seems like an odd thing. We don't have that here in America. So I think that it could have been a mixture of ignorance. It could have been a mixture of her also just being like very self-assured, like, oh, I got it, when you don't. And it's like this
very American of her.
Very American.
Yeah.
That's something I think that we know very well when we travel to other places. I think it's very easy for us to come off as very American when it comes to certain things because of how we just are. We don't do it on purpose. We don't do it with any kind of like ill or malicious intent, but others perceive it a certain kind of way because it's how they were raised, it's how they do things, and that's why it's important to learn and understand people's customs. But in this particular case, like, from my understanding, based on the different things that both Meghan and Harry have said in their books and the shows and podcasts and whatever, in interviews, they were so like enraptured with one another. I mean, shortly after they started dating, they went off to Botswana together. You know, they didn't go to the palace. Like, there's different things that they were doing about their relationship in which I don't think it was really like understood. You're about to be thrown into the mouth of the lion here. You know, it's not, I don't think there was like that full understanding. And then once it was, I think she thought she could handle it, and she couldn't. And I mean, obviously, like, that's understandable. It's not for everybody, but it's like the way in which, of course, this now turns into a media circus, the way in which the media portrayed everything, it made it seem as though like she just basically was this whole, you know, gold digger trying to steal the prince kind of thing, where it's like, no, I think the girl was just very ignorant. Like, not, you know, not in an offensive way, but just in a American way. Americans are very ignorant when it comes to like outside cultures, when it comes to other countries' ways of doing things. And I think that like because of that, most people find this stuff to kind of like nitpick at her when she's just a typical American, in my mind.
I mean, just based on this conversation, it's kind of hard to debate you today. I will regroup and be back at it.
I'll be here.
But I guess she wasn't allowed and didn't say the word poppycock.
Right.
I mean, I wonder now that, you know, Queen Elizabeth has passed, will she say it now just to be
I mean, I don't think
spiteful?
so.
You know, I didn't like, this is random, I didn't like when she was just mocking the curtsies. I think that was so rude and disrespectful. Another reason why I don't like her, maybe I'm ramping up. I don't know. I think he's a gold digger, but we're not.
But I'm doing the same thing. Who curtsies? Have you ever curtsied?
I haven't, but I'm not gonna make fun of it, especially when millions of people are gonna see it, and I'm making fun of my husband's family,
Think
a
she
monarchy that's been there longer than her whole life, and you know whatever.
I don't think she was making fun of it. I think she was making fun of herself, but it was taken out of context. I saw the clip. I saw the whole show.
Oh, she needs a better publicist because
no, it's not that. It's not.
Yes. Now we're gonna start. Now we're gonna start.
All of you guys are very quick to watch a clip and run with the clip like, oh yeah, that's what it is. Hey, it's happened to us. People watch our clips and think that we're going sideways when it's like, if you watch the full video, you'll understand what we're saying. But people watch clips and think that's Bible. No, it's not. I watched the whole thing. She was literally making fun of herself and how much of an idiot she looked trying to do it because she didn't know. But the clips are spliced, as with this whole poppycock thing, to make it seem as though she's making fun of the whole situation. Like, that's not what it was. But again, you know, people don't like to watch a whole show or something. They just prefer to clip.
I don't know. I don't care for her. Prince Harry, go make up with your family because that will make me happy. It really would. But we're not talking about that. Royal family, they didn't want her to say the word. She ain't say it. We'll move on. All right. So, I mean, I think this concludes the episode. We get going when it comes to Meghan. We should just do it on her.
Oh, it's coming. Like, we've been wanting to do this for a while. It's coming.
Oh boy. Get ready, people. But if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Also, please share our videos. We're almost close to 100 subscribers.
I know.
I don't even know how this happened. I guess you guys are enjoying the content. I don't know, loving D, hating me. I'm okay with it.
Wow.
I mean, the comments are interesting, but I like it. Keep it spicy. But yeah, share it with your friends. So your friends, we could be friends. We, you know, just share the fun. Yeah, we also have some socials, which Dee will tell you about.
We're on Instagram and on TikTok at Hear Me Out DNE. And that's D Delta N Niner E Echo. Got it. I was trying to figure out how to say that properly. Anyway, let's Hear Me Out DNE on both Instagram and on TikTok. You guys can head to the hyperlink that we have under our banner. It's the Instagram logo. You just click it, takes you directly there. Makes it a whole lot easier. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for interacting, for just enjoying our craziness. And even if you're not, hey, we'll take the views anyway.
Also, please let us know in the comments, what do you think about the royal family's, what do we call it, interjection? Say?
Yeah, they did.
On Meghan Markle's career. Like, should she have, pushed back and be like, pause? Should she have done what she did? What do you think about the royal family? What do you think about Meghan Markle? You don't like her, right? Oh, we agree. All right, guys. That concludes today's episode. We'll see you the next time. Peace.
Bye.